Welcome back to the EU Spring Regionals here in Katowice. It's time for game number 2. Once again, I am Tetra. I'm still joined by the amazing Dreadnought. We have a very interesting game to go with here.
Interesting to say the least, I think, actually, when it comes to both of these teams' drafts.
Yeah, so I need to tell you guys a story. So basically, sitting next to Dreadnought while casting is one of the greatest things ever. One, because he's amazing, and two, because of his reactions. Like, we were just watching the draft from the other guys, and Valor gets locked in, and I just see out of my peripheral vision just Dreadnought freaking out.
Yeah.
Would you be able to explain that, please?
I just feel like there was no real... Okay, so in the previous drafts, Dignitas has shown their kind of prioritization and fear of Lunar on the map. And they've also kind of shown... like, personally, just Vala, I think there's a lot of other better picks in that kind of situation that can kind of fill the role that they're looking for. It's like that wave clear. If they need, like, for instance, I feel like Jaina, if they want the wave clear and the AoE burst, like, kind of comp, I feel like they could be looking for that Jaina. Another thing is that, like, they were worried about the Lunara, but then, like, let it go completely and have no fear for it. And then the response on the side of mYi is they decide to actually commit to the strategy they used in their first 3 games today. And then they pick it into a solo Tassadar support, and it's just like the minute you see somebody's fully committing to solo Tassadar, I don't understand why you only pick a burst comp.
Yeah,
it's like
the Callous Embrace shield is there for that particular reason, just to block an initial income of damage.
Yeah, and like they do have Greymane on the side of Dignitas, and so you're like, well, they have a little bit less poke and everything else, but at the same time, I just feel like the minute you can sense that solo Tassadar, why would you force the only way to win a team fight as that single target burst, the only thing that he can heal?
All right, so we can have a look at the players here. On the left-hand side, it is Bakery on that Tassadar. JPL is playing Johanna, Maina on Valor. Snitch is playing the Greymane. Wooby is on the Thrall. Whereas, on the right-hand side, we see Nurok playing Tyrande, Darkmok playing Sonya, Splendor playing the Rhaegar, Haswobs playing Li Ming, and Blumby playing the Muradin. And let's have a look at the teams as they do spawn in to the Infernal Shrines. Ladies and gentlemen, spawning on the left-hand side, it is going to be Team Dignitas. And on the right-hand side, playing in the red, it is going to be mYi.
Yeah, and so right out the gates, one thing that I want to talk about is how the team fights. If mYi is going to walk away with a win in this game, I feel like how they approach the team fights is crucial. So most importantly, I think that they cannot be so straightforward in how the team fight is going to happen, or Tassadar will be essentially a soft counter to what they're looking for. Vala will come into the back line, get an AoE slow with frost shots, strafe, proceed to set up a beautiful go for the throw on the side of Greymane. Tyrande cannot be flanking from the same angle that Sonya is. If Murd and Tyrande go in straight forward, Sonya needs to be somewhere else. They cannot let all the damage go into a single target. They need to have 2 threats from 2 angles, because that's where Tassadar's weakness is. If they approach at a very straightforward angle, I don't know if they're going to be able to win this game, but they definitely do have the strong level 1 through 9 here.
Yeah, and we may be able to see that. For now, though, JPL just playing aggressive. They're able to clear the waves incredibly quickly with that Knight takes pawn and that Arsenal coming in for Dignitas. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing them go with the good old classic roaming between the lanes, wiping out minion waves as quick as they can.
And I mean, it's understandable when you consider Dignitas' composition. Right out the gates, considering mYi, they've essentially set up their comp to have 0 wave clear. And so you notice that in the wave, in like the team fight sense, right here, they're losing the 1-4 and they're following Dignitas. That's not something they want to be doing. They're never going to get a kill on this composition. Iron Skin's going to come out. They have no kill potential. Do not match them. See how they keep going bottom? They need to go top and pick on Thrall. They need to be doing something else. You will never win the situation if you're mYi. And now imagine, this is the laning phase. Wait for the shrines to spawn. Who's going to win those? They have to get kills, and they're being passive. They're following, not leading.
They're trying to catch up with Dignitas, basically, to get to them, but Dignitas clear the waves so quickly that, well, mYi just can't just leave the lane. They're really struggling to keep up with Dignitas here. And having a look at some of the talents that we do see at level 1, Rhaegar going a bit back in time. He's going for the Lightning Bond at level 1, as opposed to either the increased radius or the totem builds we have seen.
Yeah, he doesn't go in the bond there. It's going to be interesting to see how he kind of rounds out the rest of that build, Splendor there. Also, what the decision-making from both of these teams is going to be when it comes to the Shrine, if they're going to over-prioritize it and try and commit to it. But again, things to be looking out for is the angle at which mYi approaches these team fights. If they all come from the same direction, and Tassadar is going to be able to provide a solid shield, I just don't know if they have what it takes to win a fight over Dignitas' comp.
But now, though, we are seeing mYi getting a bit of a head start on to this Shrine here. but they are moving in to try and push Dignitas out. Dignitas just poking from range.
Yeah, and mYi is getting a little bit of the lead here when it comes to capping these, but they honestly, nobody's soaking the upper half of the map. They do have less wave clear, and they're going to get the Punisher. Congratulations. But if they don't capitalize anywhere else with giving up all the soak that they have in the other parts of the map, I just don't think it's really worth it. Snitch has managed already to take out half the front wall on the upper half of the map. He's got a team, has got an XP lead, and honestly, if you're a Miranda comp and you're losing, when I say Miranda, by the way, it's Murden and Tyrande, you're losing the early game, that's a bad time.
Yeah, it is very, very scary to deal with. And Snitch actually very nearly got killed off because he took half his health from the tower and then Sonya appeared. But he got out of there, and that is perfect for Dignitas. Able to keep a fair amount of control here. Like you said, they were able to get quite a few structures, and just the very standard pulling the Punisher over the wall, let it get killed off, focus it down. They have managed this perfectly. And right now they're going for Dark Bolt. Snitch takes a lot of damage, but Whoopi trying to focus him down. That whirlwind so strong. There's the root. Snitch coming in. They're trying to catch him, but they take him down.
A sidestep there to try and dodge the Q coming out from Snitch, but it's not enough. He will be in auto attack range. And when we're considering the comps, one thing I also forgot to touch up on is when it gets to the later half of the game, Tyrande and Li Ming are essentially the main kill targets when it comes to mYi. I fear that if they stay in too safe a positioning, or not safe enough, excuse me, positioning with a poke one from Greymane, that go for the throat, that Vala strafe, there's the flank that she's going to be able to provide against that squishy composition, especially those two. It's just terrifying. mYi has set themselves up for a comp that they definitely can win the game. It's just they put themselves in a situation where they have to flawlessly execute.
Yeah, they have to play a very certain way in order to use their comp to the maximum efficiency here. So we currently have level 7s about to hit for both teams. Valor going with the hybrid build. We've been seeing a lot of the puncturing arrow on level 4, these composite arrows on level 1, and the repeating arrows so we can get those extra shots. Very much a damage-based build here.
That is actually really interesting, to decide to lock in the Vala but then avoid the kind of grenade AoE. I feel like Frost Shots is a must when you consider their composition. But maybe they don't feel the same, I guess. I don't know. That's an interesting pickup. We're going to see how he runs like that rest of that comp, but that is not where I thought they would go when locking in the Vol. And I thought 100% you're just going to be W build, set up the Greymane with the slow from Tassadar, excuse me, the wall, and just make him just go for the throat procs. But they definitely have something in store here that I didn't expect.
You can still get the slow on the level 13 here with this build, and in fact it is usually quite preferable due to the fact it's a hero killer build.
Absolutely.
You're able to just throw out that puncturing arrow and get the slow off so you can chase them down with your extra movement speed, the extra slows, and set up for your team a lot better. For now, seeing Dignitas move in Dark Mode, trying to just clear up as many of these possible right now. Once again, mYi with a bit of a lead, but this time Dignitas committing quite a bit more. It's 4 versus 4 around this shrine area.
Absolutely. They can, and as you were talking about the 13 tier here, it's actually interesting. Dig is actually completely backing out. But then the 13 tier for Volley, you're right. The frost shots can be taken in any situation, and then most likely is going to be the case. I just felt like when it came to the wave clear, when it comes to the shrine, they might be looking for it, but also just when it comes to the team fighting, single target DPS is not something that I feel like their comp excels at, and I don't feel like speccing into that is necessarily maximizing the best, but
bad move there, teleporting it into the root. Very unlucky, but perfect predictions from the Thrall here. Really nice plays. Punisher has been taken, and Dignitas immediately moving back. Exactly the same as last time, pulling it over the wall, keeping the defense, and they'll still save the towers here. That's 2 in a row.
I mean, welcome to early game Punishers. Not much else to say about it. That's why you see Greymane just constantly split pushing the entire time. Dignitas understanding the lack of value, especially when you consider like how much siege mYi has. It's legitimately 0 siege potential, other than maybe like a little bit of the harass that you can get from Li Ming, but half the time she's been dealing with Greymane in the first place. So smart decision making on the side of Dignitas here. But both teams are going to be even at 10, which is not what you want if you're on the side of mYi.
Yeah, I really wanted to try and snowball from this. Heroics, like you said, available. Blessed Shield from the Johanna, one of the ones we kind of might have seen some variants on. Otherwise, we're seeing a lot of the usual, the Avatar, Disintegrate, and of course, like you've been saying all game, that Strafe ready for a huge amount of damage.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely crucial to their composition. So if you are on the side of Dignitas, I've been talking about how mYi wants to approach fights, right? If you're Dignitas, you want to do the exact same thing. You just want Vala to flank from the backline post 13, throw out one huge W on the 2 primary targets, strafe, and make sure it doesn't get interrupted. Even if you go blow for blow and you end up dying, you are going to do so much setup for that Sunder, for that go for the throw and the Blessed Shield that you essentially can't really lose the team fight. It all comes down to how well mYi's healers, the double healers, are going to be able to deal with that. Personally, I would like to see Rehgar worry a little bit more about his AoE healing when it comes to his build. Everybody's been harping on this like kind of W or totem build, but everybody kind of forgets that like Rehgar can actually AoE heal.
Yeah,
Tidal Waves is still very valuable.
He has some really good abilities for exactly that. So we could see that. We might be able to see at least the Tidal Waves later on.
Yeah.
But that will mean that at least some of those Lightning Skeletons are mostly for killing off those skeletons on the shrines.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. It is an option that we might still see. I just would have liked a little bit more concentration on it, possibly early in the build. But the map objective is going to spawn. Sonya will be late to the rotation. mYi will completely be late to it for a short period of time. But now again, who is going to get the flank here? We don't have... Dignitas doesn't have 13, so they don't really have that big of a spike yet. But Sonya needs to get a different angle on this fight.
Yeah, Sonya instead moving in from the top, but groups up with her team. Disintegrate just destroys Thrall before he can do anything. There's a Shadow Assault Strafe doing so much. Bloodby getting focused on the avatars, and he gets Ancestral by jumping over the Force Wall. And mYi able to take this fight, and they're now catching up with Dignitas, who did have a bit of an advantage in the Skeletons, but it's winner take all on this map. That advantage means nothing.
No, that was, honestly, that was very well done on their sprint, and all it came down to was Bakery on that solo to support Tassadar. If he doesn't provide the shield on that primary target, they're going to have a bad time. That's why I've been talking about that split focus there, but they do lock in the map objective here. And until they do hit that 13 tier, I don't feel like they totally have a spike. But honestly, that was really well done. mYi completely capitalizing on the misplay on the side of Dig. Honestly, maybe Dig's getting a little bit afraid at this point. I feel like they were very confident coming in the matchup, and their play last game versus this one was really risky. But here the dive goes.
Yeah, will be moving in there. Was looking like he maybe wanted to throw out a Sundering, but he did get stunned by Bloomby, so was not able to pull anything off. Instead, we'll see Dignitas focusing down that Punisher. Even Snitch coming down from the mid lane where he was so keen to help his team in case mYi decide to go super aggressive. They're still on even talents here. The Punisher will get the fort. They're going in, leaving once again with so much. The Sundering comes out for the counter. Strafe getting the full damage, but Darmok is in the backline. Bless Shield, it's nothing, and Punisher stuns for 2. They're going to try and push in here. There's a stun onto Greymane, and Snitch gets taken out. Whoopi escapes to the top lane, but the wipeout on Vala from the leaving. And we will see mYi get 2 kills, and we'll get both at least one of the towers here. No, Tassadar does save that with the shield.
The struggle of having 0 siege and 0 wave clear. So they are in a situation where it is 13 to 13 again, kind of getting a little bit closer to the power spike that might exist on the side of Dignitas here. But the 3/4 level lead is going to be maybe a full by the end of this. And again, unless the map objective spawns on the lower half of the map, that's the only fort they have down on the side of mYi, right? So when it comes to lethal and when they're going to be able to close in the game, the later this goes, honestly, as long as the Tassadar shields from Bakery are going to be on point, I feel like they have the stronger late game. And if that's the case, I feel like we need to see mYi trying to capitalize a little bit harder on fights that aren't happening with the Punisher, so they can try and abuse maybe the lack of rotations on Dignitas's team.
Yeah, they've absolutely just been doing amazing in the fights they've been taking, leaving just proving to be terrifying, a huge amount of damage. But like you said, they're getting only these kills when objectives are happening, and have only got 1 fort as a result.
Another huge point that I would like to touch up on, Calder actually got a little bit to it as well. When you get to that 16 tier, when it comes to the mYi's composition, the Pierce build now with the Empower at 16, got to be looking for the bonus damage at the longer the shots go out, and that is crucial against Tassadar. He has no way to really keep all that damage. Like he can never recover from that kind of damage, right? Also, 13 on mYi. They do go with the tidal waves. Love the pickup. So I'm in a situation where I feel like if 16 is hit, as long as Greymane doesn't get max value, I feel like mYi can lock in this game. I honestly feel like it's their game to lose, really.
Yeah, mYi coming out here. Some people may have written them off a bit, but at the moment they're looking really strong to go through this group in first. We'll have to see if Dignitas can bring it back in this game. Right now, they've only just hit 15 as mYi over halfway towards their next talent here.
Yeah, and so you see on the upper half of the map, you already see that the Dignitas is looking to soak the lanes. They aren't willing to risk this, knowing that they're going to fall behind at 16. Actually kind of posturing like they were maybe going to take a fort. Not going to be the case here, though. They are going to posture around it. I would like to make sure that mYi locks in the 16, but the rotation here, he is going to get rooted. That's going to be 1 dead, leaving the Shadow Step in the blink.
He gets out! Has to escape. Splendor arrives for the heal, and that was so well timed from Toronto.
Shadowstock dream, dude. That was so good. Nurok saving his team. That was a huge power spike. Like, if that went down on the side of Dig, that was the only time they could turn this game around. But now they do not have this tool. And honestly, that was phenomenal play. mYi, like, I see them working. They're going hard for this win.
That was huge for mYi. Dignitas Bakery currently coming down from above. Needs to take the long way around, though, so he does not get picked off. But this Punisher almost definitely going over to mYi. They will take this, and they're going to be able to push in as 5 here. And this is going to be huge. They'll take the finals demons here. And there is that Punisher. Once again, Dignitas just retreat behind their walls. Same strategy as before.
Yeah.
But they have their 16s now as well. They still might be able to get something out of this.
So a couple things to look at is look for W's here. The follow-up there is, excuse me, when I say W's, I mean Owls coming inside of Toronto. So the Owls are going to be absolutely crucial to the success of them being able to get anything in this next team fight. The next thing I want to talk about is how I was actually complaining about the lack of wave clear on the side of mYi, and they've won every single Immortal, and they haven't even abused it through kills. It's just the way that Dignitas has approached the game here. They've been able to get a lot out of this, so really well done.
The use of that lightning bond along with the whirlwind from Sonya has been very effective. wOmi comes in from the side, though. He wants to try and get something. There's the force wall down onto Toronto, but Toronto escapes. Dartmock trying to do as much damage to JPL as possible. JPL will survive, but now wOmi a little bit separated from his team. We're seeing Maida and Snitch take down the Rhaegar. That's a pretty big deal, but Snitch getting focused. His healer's nowhere near. He's just out of range. He will get out. JPL getting focused here. It's currently 1-0 in favor of Dignitas. They're still trying to get more out of this, but they're so low. wOmi get out there. wOmi goes down. They trade 1-for-1. Maida wants to make it 2-for-1, but he can't catch Hasselhoff's Bakery. He wants
That's not
it.
good.
There's dimensional shift. He wants it.
He's got 7 talent. Furious healing. Like, how do you... He's not going to be able to do this. This is not going to be enough. He will be able to walk away. And honestly, Dignitas got a small victory. They're getting the early kill, overextending a little bit too much and going blow for blow here. They're still pursuing for more. They might be able to get it back. The site is revealed. Sonya's out of position. She's got to eat. She has to get a perfect. She's dead.
There's a double kill.
That's what they need.
They get it. Dignitas getting the kills here. They've managed to catch up pretty much in XP, but now they have to go to the defensive. Most of the top wave is pushed up. Mid one they have. They get picked off. Bluffy coming in for the snipe there.
What do you know about greedy backs, boys? One after the other, just abusing each team. That was actually phenomenal from both sides here. But that small win, whether the overextension or anything, yeah, Dignitas has signs of life in that miniature tempo swing. But let's be honest here, structurally, they have 0 things going for them. Every small win, if they don't get anything, it's like, okay, who cares? Because you aren't getting the Punisher to siege. That thing, like, that, it just does nothing. It just fights. You'll bait it over the wall. Congratulations, you got a front wall.
Yeah, winning a fight is all good, but the building has to die to win the game. The fort, if it's alive, then all your kills mean nothing. Bakery, like you said, they're really out getting hit, and he has to refresh the shield and still took health damage over the top.
Yeah, and like as you saw kind of with the health bars too, watching these team fights, last team fight I wanted to touch up on this as well, is with that Tidal Waves proc coming from Rhaegar and then the Shadowstock on the side of Toronto, when Valis strafes, it honestly is like just tickling mYi. Yeah. It's like actually laughable damage, and that's why you wanted to know why is Dread sitting there going like, what is that Vala pick? That, ladies and gentlemen, is why I'm asking why the Vala pick.
Yeah, and right now we're going to see if the Valor pick can be of some use. Will be being forced to change his engagement point. Kazura's fighting in the mid lane. Dartmock being as careful as he can. Nurok repositioning. He was in a little bit of danger there, but looks good here.
Yeah, and so this is crucial. Whoever wins this, especially if it goes inside of mYi, this is the one where they have a lot of damage on the structures on the bottom half. Their keep wall is almost dead. So if they do win this, they have a lot to gain from this Punisher.
Yeah, and we're going to see them try and focus it down as much as possible. 23-20. Dignitas are ahead thanks to their AoE poke. They are able to try and work it down. We see a decent engage angle. wOmi from above looking for his angle for the Sundering. Disintegrate does a lot of damage, but wOmi being zoned out by Dartmock. There's the strafe. Coming in does a lot of damage. Sundering does land. They take down Toronto straight away. Dartmock, no, Ancestral will not hit. And Dignitas are taking the fight. Wolf will not land, but they will take down Blumpy. Eventually, Nopi gets away. Wolf toss out from the multi-shot.
No, but he's going for the lightning prop.
He wants it. Bounce.
RNG.
Oh, too much health.
All right, well, but one thing to look at, too, is you notice Thrall approached that team fight from a different angle, but you didn't see Sonya or Li Ming or any of the Murd in Toronto style approach the team fight from a different angle. And I feel like I said, how these teams take the team fight is crucial to their success. Greymane got maximum value. Nobody was under pressure. The zoning attempt on the side of Sonya against the Thrall there was good, but it just wasn't enough. But then we're going to be baited over the wall here. 20-tier advantage is going to be picked up on Dig. I don't think this will be a keep quite yet. And if it is, honestly, as long as mYi doesn't get killed, they aren't going to lose the game, and I feel like they still have a chance at pulling out a win here. So
yeah, the keep will go down here. Punisher going to stun up any resistance. That Sentinel, very nice by Tyrande. Dignitas, they know their limits though. They pull back. Nice Iron Skin by Johanna there, preventing the stun. And Dignitas, they pull back. They get the kills. They get the keep. And this is the comeback. They even have their level 20s.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a big win for them. It's the first sign of life that they kind of shown to maybe be able to be like, hey guys, I think this is our game to win. But at the same time, do they really have that big of a lead? Yes, structurally, they are up now on the keep, so lethal is going to be a bigger opportunity for them than their opponents, but I'm still not convinced. I just feel like if mYi approaches the team fight from a different angle than they did maybe the last one, more so what they did in the early half of the map, I mean, it's just how both of these, they're on almost dead even footing, minus the structure.
Yeah, it's very, very close, and even more dead even footing as level 20 is just about to be hit for mYinsanity after taking those minions in the mid lane there. And we see the Storm Shield for the Rhaegar, the Huntress Swiftness, which is a big deal. They can really get some good snipes here if they use it well with that Sonya. That Force Wall onto Sonya here, just keeping her stuck here. Doesn't make a difference, but it's going to be annoying.
Yeah, and they're just painting the map, getting a little bit of the map objective, trying to keep pressure over their opponents. In theory, this is like an advantage on the side of Dignitas just because they provide better wave clear, but let's be honest here, it's not enough to really be noted. You see them sitting here waiting around the camp. The Owl is going to reveal it. They aren't going to cap it quite yet. They're just trying to time it with the map objective. The Owl kind of scares them, so they pull away from it, but both teams sitting here trying to figure out what they're going to be doing, how they're going to try and approach the team fight. And again, whoever gets the biggest pick here, I feel like whoever approaches it from multiple angles, they're going to be the ones with a big win here. And this is the perfect shrine. So we've been talking about where they need to approach it. This one has the most flank angles. So whoever can abuse this the best, honestly, is probably going to win this game.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. We see mYi, they're not even going for it yet because it still has quite a lot of time before to spawn. Instead, going to take another mercenary camp, so top lane's going to be pushing. Dignitas have just spent their time clearing up the Khazra camp that was in the mid lane, so they don't have to worry about that pressure, but the longer this fight does go on for, the more damage those Shamans are going to get up. Minion wave does get cleared by mYi. Dignitas getting a bit of a head start, but like you said, engage angles here. Going to be a huge deal for mYi.
Yeah, see how Wubby is rotating out at a different angle, but you don't see that on the side of Sonya? Somebody needs to be abusing the lack of vision in the mid lane because they do not have the wave clear straight up on the side of mYi. If they keep doing this, Greymane is going to body him. Look at that poke that's coming out between the two. Tidal Wave's trying to make something happen, but I just don't think they have it unless they get, honestly, just a misplay on the side of Bakery. If they take this the way that they've been doing it, Bakery, they're relying on a mistake. They aren't making the play.
Yeah, shields are currently looking good by Bakeries, keeping them pretty high up. Johanna still doing great work. Dartmok goes very deep. Maida getting focused. He gets shielded and he gets taken down by Disintegrate, but there's the Sundering. They want to try and get the counter, but it's not looking good, actually. Snitch
so
getting
scary.
out of there. JPL is being focused. There's the Iron Skin just in time to protect him. The root coming in from Whoopi, and we're seeing Bakery, Force Wall, trying to protect Jay. Jay's getting focused. The slow from the totem. He's still alive, but he did, but
there it is.
There is the indestructible. JPL still running. Snitch has found Darkmog. They may take him down. JPL gets out. He lives.
So big. Dignitas actually could have lost that game in that situation. Instead, Sonya fighting off a little bit more. They're going to lose the map objective.
Greymane, run, get out of there. Snitch in serious trouble. Bakery able to get some health back. Juking has to up. Snitch getting chased down. And we do see the objective go over to Dignitas. Snitch still on the run. Bloomby wants to get him in the top lane. We see another scuffle. Whoopi sprinting out of there. Snitch escapes. The Punisher goes to mid lane. Bakery pushing in 1 versus 3 right now. Whoopi going to give chase. But we're seeing mYi, they have to pull back and defend, whereas Dignitas, they currently, the Shaman camp got the keep and it's pushing top lane.
Yeah, the keep is actually the biggest play out of this entire situation. Shout out to the MVP right there. Walks away with the keep, making the structures even there, but that was the situation where if Sonya had not gotten picked in that 2v1, Dignitas really abusing like trying to bite off more than they can chew. They get a kill and then they decide to force more fights rather than just worrying about the map objective. mYi going a little bit too far and then perfect capitalization on that on the side of Dignitas, but then everybody going all over the place here, getting a little bit of skirmishes, and nobody walks away with a major lead. If anything, mYi got more just because of the keep, but realistically, I feel like they could have gained game, honestly. If they had played it properly around the map objective, that could have been lethal for them. So
yeah, right now though, mYi are going to be fairly stuck in their base due to the fact that Dignitas have all their heroics, but ancestral healing still missing for that Rhaegar for another 35 seconds. So they need to play a little bit more passively, and that's what they're doing, just clearing up the mercenaries. The Dignitas are taking all over the map. Dignitas with the full map control at the moment, and that is a huge deal for them. But they're running out of things to do. Eventually they have to defend top lane, but yeah, but now there's nothing else for them to do, so it's not a big deal that they are not on the map anymore.
So mYi, I just feel like, has the stronger 20 overall. Ultimately, the slow that comes out inside of Li Ming there, the temporal flux, is insane. The reset value there, and then double Hardened Shield there, or Ignore Pain, I guess, is the answer there, and then Hardened Shield on the side of Murden is really hard to deal with, especially considering the double healers. They're going to be able to soak up a lot of damage, and like that last team fight, we saw Murden zoning essentially 4 people, 1 reset, and they got a lot out of it. I just feel like they have a worse, or a better 20 team fight than Dignitas. Again, if Dignitas approaches the fight properly, I feel like they have a chance to win it, but it just really comes down to like whether or not each team is going to be able to capitalize on the misplay of their opponents. And to be honest, I feel like Dig has been doing that better. They just compositionally, I don't think they quite have the approach, mainly because of the volley pick, but
yeah, we will see if they are able to bring it out, like though. Maynard is basically playing it like the mages that he likes, just trying to use it as just a huge amount of poke and as the eventual engage.
Look at the back door. They're rotating.
Yeah, they're going. They have a pretty big minion wave. The thing about it, the Owl hasn't seen them because the Owl has been being thrown out in a different direction. Objective is ready. Now, where is mYi going? They're currently going to take the mercenary camp. Do they go back to defend that lane quickly, or do they all head up? We see a B from Tyrande, Li Ming moving back, and Dignitas decide for the objective.
So mYi needs to not show. They know that Tyrande's back. They know 100% Tyrande's back. Like the fact that Sonya is showing right now, they know this is a 5 vs 4. This is very scary. All right, they don't capitalize, but that's the kind of stuff where Dignitas has been capitalizing on the misplay of their opponents. They still don't have Tyrande. This is still a 5 vs 4.
Yeah, Tyrande's on the way, and the minions still got to the core, even though Tyrande spent some time defending here. Tyrande has finally arrived, but a tiny bit of shield was taken. Darkmark doing a good job with the Whirlwind on the point here. And then who is going to get a better angle? Dignitas in a way bigger arch here. A huge amount of damage. The shield saves Wobby. He gets out, but the healing coming out from the Shadow Stalker and the speed will get all of mYi out of there. But Wobby doesn't have the healing. He has to rely purely on the shields of Bakery here.
And it's not enough, so he's going to have to back at this point. mYi needs to either, number 1, force a fight, or 2, worry about the map objective. They don't have the wave clear to just sit around and derp like they did last time. It led to them losing a Sonya and losing the map objective. It's absolutely crucial. Instead, they worry about the back door, even though they show in mid-translation somebody's going to keep up. Ah, gosh, this is so risky on the side of mYi. They're trying to figure out the best rotation, but if they misplay a little bit, Dignitas might be able to make a big play.
They have to go. That's so much damage. Sonya and Muradin will finish off the objective here. Dignitas just pushing up the waves, keeping the pressure on all the other lanes. Yeah, mYi need to push with this. Dignitas just still hovering around. They want to do that backdoor.
Why are they finishing the map objective?
They are, just really slowly.
They're just, you know, just hanging out a little bit there. Sonya's going to slowly lock it in. All right, so what do you do here? You're worried about the back door. You don't have the vision that Tassadar can provide. You do have Shadow Stalk, though. What is the call that you make? You wait till you see your opponent. It's absolutely crucial. Notice how they're sitting there and faking the backs. Like, so see how they are starting their backs? This is beautiful. They're faking the backs, waiting till they see them, and then they're going to commit to the back. So both teams are trying to figure it out now. Dignitas fully committing to the back here. Again, mYi is waiting till they see, and then they'll commit once they know. It's gaining an extra couple of seconds. Beautiful play. Now they see them. They're going to play aggressive. Sonya committed to the back, though. That might have been a huge misplay.
Yeah, Sonya needs to hurry up and hustle to get back here. Dignitas have a precious few seconds to take care of this Punisher. They get a fair amount of damage onto it. Li Ming gets a good hit onto JPL, but he is next to the hole. He can drop back, get some help, but they need to not get rooted. We do see the stun there. The damage coming down onto Snitch. Snitch gets out. He will survive here. Punisher on the core, but they're going really aggressive here. Maynard able to dodge the orb. Darkmox has finally arrived, and they get the Valor. They're going in for the kill here. They're trying to get a JPL surviving for the moment, but the Indestructible will proc. The Punisher will go down here, but it's 4 versus 5 on the core, and then now it is. Oh no, Bakery does live. They're focusing the core down.
They can't do it.
And
they can't stop this.
It looks like, yeah, it looks like it's going to be
They're going to be all in the core. They can't just stay split, and they're going to be able to do it. There is no contestant. Murden's going to be on it. It's over.
Yeah, and that's going to be it. It's going to be GG, and we're going to see mYi go through first in the group. What incredible play here, and the reaction is outstanding here.
Oh man, what do you know about upsets? That was absolutely phenomenal. Not only did they walk away with a win, they walked away with a 2-0. Dignitas coming in, powerhousing through what would be considered one of the favorites, Fnatic, and then just getting bodied by mYi.
Yeah, absolute incredible play. And a lot of rumors around this were, well, mYi might be the team that was able to cheese their way through. That was standard play, and they just did it so well.
Yeah, no, definitely. If that was the team that was going to be able to choose the way through and they're beating you with standard, you have to look out here, ladies and gentlemen, how far they're going to be able to make it through the back. That was very, very impressive play. I also feel like it was a little bit. I would definitely say draft was where I feel like they did better than Dignitas. I feel like Dignitas was able to capitalize on their mistakes, but I feel like we were talking about that knowledge. Calder was kind of touching on how they have individuals staying into the in the crowd, watching the games, keeping draft information. That is why they walked away with this 2-0.
Yeah, just incredible play there. Just mYi, dude. That was so well played. At the end, that Li Ming is so scary with the slow. It's just really, really difficult to deal with.
To be totally honest, if Sonya hadn't committed to that back, that game would have been over so much easier.
Yeah,
that was definitely
just been able to go in for
that was really risky. That was actually the point where they might have been able to end up losing that game. And it kind of shows maybe that's something that against other teams will be a struggle. Dark Mach actually died to Rhaegar. He split off and isolated. He died again, or he almost at the end there wasn't with his team as well. It seems like he might be a little bit of a different page than his team, and that's something that maybe a better team than Dignitas can capitalize on.
Yeah, quite possibly, but we have to remember that Dignitas are not out of the tournament yet.
Yeah.
They go down to the lower side here, where they will play against the winner of Na'Vi versus Epsilon. So we could have a rematch on our hands, or we could see Epsilon maybe able to make their way through. They took a map off of mYi, which, well, we didn't just see Dignitas do, so a lot of potential here to see who goes through in this group, but this is not what anyone expected. For now, though, we're going to head over to the main stage where we do have Marcella with an interview with mYi.
Yes, I'm here with Blondie, and damn, you guys are on a roll. I want to know, is it because you practice so much, or the motivation? Why are you guys so strong?
We practiced a lot, I think, a lot more than any other team. And we had a longer boot camp than any other team. And we went through all 4 qualifiers, which meant we had no break. We just practiced for basically 1 or 2 months straight up, every day, all day. And I don't know, I think we're just stronger than most of the teams right now.
Great. And the second game, you had a pretty strong draft. Can you tell me more about it?
Well, they picked Tassadar, solo support. And we thought, like, all right, we get our Rhaegar Tyrande, which we practiced a lot, and it will be fine. They won't be able to kill us. As long as no one dies, we get the resets, we get Li Ming, we just kill them all.
And is there any team that you're really afraid of?
Yeah, Fnatic, actually. Fnatic is really strong right now. I respect them a lot. They're strong mechanically. They're really strong players, all of them. And I'm looking forward to maybe facing them in semis.
Well, we'll see that, and congratulations again. Let's get back to the analyst disc.
Thank you very much, Marcella, on the main stage.